this button. Recording is in progress. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhushtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Santi Namane Namaste Sarisari Devi Gauravani Pachaline Devakisha Sunyavari Pashtatara Satanine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so just in case you don't have access to Bhagavad Gita, I can share it right now. I have it ready here, ready to go, as they say. And here it is here. So this is quite a lengthy purport. And we went for the choice yesterday of stopping at each paragraph and just opening it up for discussion, etc. It's very good. So yesterday we just covered one verse. That's okay. Why the rush? So let's continue with that for now. Let's, if someone could read the translation and then go straight to reading this paragraph here. Asammoha. And we can have a little discussion on that, or if there's any questions. Okay? Is that okay? We'll do like that?
Yeah. Can I read?
You can. Definitely, you can read. So just read the translation.
Yeah.
And then go straight to Asammoha.
Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of senses, control of mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, nonviolence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. Paragraph 2. Asammoha. Freedom from the doubt and delusion can be achieved when one is not hesitant and when he understands the transcendental philosophy. Slowly but surely he becomes free from bewilderment. Nothing should be accepted blindly. Everything should be accepted with care and with caution. Kshama, tolerance and forgiveness should be practiced. One should be tolerant and excuse the minor offenses of others. Satyam, truthfulness, means that facts should be presented as they are for the benefit of others. Facts should not be misrepresented. According to social conventions, it is said that one can speak the truth only when it is palatable to others. Shall I carry on? Yeah.
Yeah, let's just finish the paragraph, unless there's a question that comes up from that. But
okay. But that is not truthfulness. The truth should be spoken in a straightforward way so that others will understand actually what the facts are. If a man is a thief and if people are warned that he is a thief, that is truth. Although sometimes the truth is unpalatable, one should not refrain from speaking it. Truthfulness demands that the facts be presented as they are for the benefit of others. That is a definition of truth.
oh, okay, Hare Krishna. So there's a few things that mentioned there. Often you read in here in Bhagavad Gita in more than one place, especially chapter 16, it speaks about the divine and demonic quality. And elsewhere as well in chapter 12, Krishna speaks those who are very dear to him. Then he lists different qualities. Yeah, so it's good to hear these. They will naturally develop as one becomes purified in heart. Then one will naturally develop in these godly qualities, those which are mentioned here, which are qualities of sattva and above. They will naturally develop as one progresses in devotion to Krishna. Still, it's good to take note and to try and develop these qualities as sadhakas, as practitioners. One, to invoke Krishna's grace and mercy as well. You understand? So we don't just leave it and not pay attention to our development of character as devotees. But they will develop as we progress in devotion. So anyway, so here, samoha. So any questions or comments about this paragraph? Samoha. Everyone's free from doubt here. Free from doubt and delusion. But someone's coming in here. Hare Krishna. Okay. So nothing should be accepted blindly. Everything should be accepted with caution. Let's say that there's a word. I'm trying to think of a word for where philosophy is just accepted blindly. What's that called? Anyone can remind us?
Sorry, what was that? When something is accepted
blindly, without much thought, without much questioning. There's a word for it, and it escapes me just now. Perhaps it comes to mind in a minute. Yeah. So anyway, so samoha. Everything we should question. Yeah.
Doesn't it say in Tadvini Pranipatena, looking out for a spiritual master, you shouldn't just accept somebody blindly. You have to investigate. You have to look into it.
Yeah, we spoke about that recently as well. Yeah, so that is a good example. So even the principle of accepting the spiritual master, then we should be educated and we should want to know what the qualities of a spiritual master is. So yeah, so just because, yeah, everything should be accepted with care and caution. So I guess that's the essence of that. Yeah, accept everything with care. If someone could mute, if you could mute your microphones. Okay, so Shama, tolerance and forgiveness should be practiced. Yeah. But don't worry. I guess many of you in the material world have plenty of opportunities to practice tolerance and forgiveness. Has anyone had that opportunity? It's constant. The material world can be a very intolerable place, but we have to learn to tolerate it. And there's a verse, which verse could we quote for this? Chapter 2.
Matra sparshastu kaunteya?
Yes, matra spasata kuntaya shatusna sukha 2:14, I think. Yeah, so sometimes we have no choice but to tolerate. And this one, to excuse the minor offenses of others. This is kind of a divine quality, because no doubt in this world we're going to be misunderstood, we're going to be misrepresented, we're going to be offended knowingly or unknowingly. So we have to learn to tolerate that and also excuse the minor offenses of others. Anyway, and then satyam, truthfulness is spoken. Any questions about truthfulness? Facts should be presented as they are for the benefit of others. Facts should not be misrepresented according to social conventions.
Well, except if it's like a family member who doesn't follow the same, doesn't want to be preached to. You can't preach to family members. So if they are under a misunderstanding about the nature of truth, then it's sometimes hard to present facts to people who are not receptive to facts.
Yeah, it's a good point. Prabhupada is saying here, you could ask Prabhupada that question, but Prabhupada, because Prabhupada says here about that facts should not be misrepresented according to social conventions. it is said that one can speak the truth only when it is palatable to others, but then proper. But that is not truthfulness. The truth should be spoken in a straightforward way so that others will understand actually what the facts are. So I think we have to be tactful and we have to use this with intelligence, because I think what Lwanga Latika is saying is correct. There may be some situation where being truthful might be detrimental to that person, or might be detrimental and might not be a good idea. It might make the relationships very strained, especially if it's within a family. So I think your point's taken there, Mother Lwanga Latika. But sometimes we shouldn't neglect to speak the truth in a straightforward way. Yeah. We should try to learn to be straightforward. Devotees, generally, we should not be we should try to avoid becoming, what's the word, overly diplomatic. No, we want to, there's another, somewhere else, where it speaks about the devotee is very simple. Not he's not simpleton, but he should be straightforward. Sorry, Mother Chandravali, I cut you off. You began to speak.
I was thinking how Prabhupada said, Prabhupada sometimes would be quite hard, and he said, it's okay, old men like me can get away with it, or children, but you can't. You have to speak in a proper manner.
Yeah, sometimes Prabhupada would often chastise quite severely, mainly Indian guests who came to see him. He would give to them straight. And one time Prabhupada would get very animatedly angry even with some guests, you know. Then Prabhupada made that comment, I can do such things because I am not. So anyway, but the basic principle is that devotees are truthful. Yeah, we should not want to be we should not, what's the word, not diplomatic, we should not want to be 1 second, let's look for this word. Yeah. Can you still see the Bhagavad Gita? I'm just pulling it.
Yes.
I'm just looking here, looking for one word. Diplomacy. Yeah, sometimes diplomacy can be used in a bad way. It's a natural aspect of being in the material world, but we should be careful, you know. We should be careful.
But what about that story of the Brahmin? He saw a man trying to hide because somebody was coming to kill him. And he hid him. And then the killer came, and the Brahmin thought he cannot tell lies. So he told him the truth. So the man went and killed the person.
Yeah, and what happened to that? I think it was a Brahmin, wasn't it?
Yes. The Brahmin had to go to hell for speaking the truth.
Yeah, so it has to be applied with intelligence. So there's an example that's a given. Yeah, we shouldn't. Yeah, so we have to use our intelligence, you know. Otherwise, we could get in a very difficult situation. All right. Okay. So
May I say something?
Please. Yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I was thinking, about this situation with Brahmin, who first hit the person and then gave him away. I think the truthfulness in that case, because I've been thinking about it, it was also perplexing me. So, like the truthfulness should be for him to say, I will not tell you. So that will be the truth. But it will not hurt anyone else. At least, in my opinion, that he should have, because he was not obliged to answer, but he could say, I don't want to tell, because I think so. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, no, definitely. So in other words, I think what you're saying is that over and above the truth in this particular circumstances is the values that one may have, so if they have a value of wanting to protect people, then obviously if these persons are coming and asking, then one should stick with one's values and virtue. I mean, even you could say at the cost of one's life, because they might have killed him.
Yeah.
But then that is more glorious. Yeah.
Yeah. It's using your intelligence. That's exactly how the verse starts, intelligence. So you use intelligence when you speak the truth.
Yeah. But yeah, so we may have to, anyone heard this term called white lies?
Yes.
White lies, you may have to, sometimes you may have to, but we should be careful that we don't end up becoming untruthful people. We become not straightforward and we cannot be trusted. Yeah. So truth is an important quality, especially when it comes to spiritual practice. I think sometimes the example may be given where you may be having difficulty in spiritual life, and the spiritual master may say, "How is everything?" "Oh, everything's fine, Guru Maharaj." Well, really, you're not being truthful for one reason or another. So it's mentioned in the beginning of the Bhagavatam as well. It's mentioned in the second verse.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, if you were like out in a social group, perhaps from work or just somewhere out, not in the association of devotees, and someone offers you like a cup of tea or chocolate and things like that, and it's not appropriate to go into, "Oh, well, I don't eat that, I don't drink that," because you just say, like, I was somewhere once, I just said, "Oh, I'm fasting today," and I didn't give a reason. And they accepted that, because although it's not appropriate to present like, "Oh, well, I don't do this because of this, and I don't do that because of that," and it just sounds like really over the top with some people. You just have to like be a little bit like, "Okay, well, I'm fasting today, so thank you very much,"
Yeah, just to make life a little bit easier. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody, because if the aim of the social group that you're going into, if the aim is to do, like, for instance, say you join a knitting club, and the aim is about knitting, you don't want to change the whole focus of the group onto you and why you're doing things the way you do.
So I guess time, place, and circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it might be appropriate, but sometimes it's.
But here we should remember what Prabhupada is saying here. But if a man is a thief, and if people warn that he's a thief, that is the truth. So we should, in some circumstances, learn to speak the truth in a straightforward way. At the same time, we should say in such a, interesting what Prabhupada says here. Perhaps we're analyzing this too much. What Prabhupada says here, it is said one can speak the truth only when it is palatable to others. But that is not truthfulness. So it seems like Prabhupada is, it's because Prabhupada himself would be quite, in his preaching, was quite uncompromising of what he thought of the governments, or what he thought of particular philosophies. He was very straightforward on what he thought of scientists, isn't it? Prabhupada he didn't speak it in such a way that was palatable. He said they're all rascals. All rascals, and they're demons. He'd kick on their face with boot. He would speak about scientists. So Prabhupada was quite uncompromising in his preaching. So perhaps we can learn from. We should also not be scared of speaking up on behalf of Krishna and saying the truth. Yeah. Like yesterday, we were describing how it said that everything here is inauspicious. Yeah, like for example, sorry, mine's going different directions here. When the Prabhupada came to London, he was met at the airport, all the devotees were there, and they invited some reporters to come. And they asked Prabhupada a question along the lines of, it came to, what do you think of hell? The Prabhupada said, London is hell. That's not the type of thing you might say at a news conference when you arrive in a country. But Prabhupada was uncompromising. Yeah, it's always wet. You can't see the sun. It's always cloudy. This is hell. London is hell. Yeah, so. All right, let's read on a bit, shall we? This is, someone would like to read this next paragraph. Oh, perhaps you could just continue. Oh, go on then. You can read, yeah.
Where do I start?
Yeah, control of the senses.
Okay, thank you. Control of the senses means that the senses should not be used for unnecessary personal enjoyment. There is no prohibition against meeting the proper needs of the senses, but unnecessary sense enjoyment is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Therefore, the senses should be restrained from unnecessary use. Similarly, one should restrain the mind from unnecessary thoughts. That is called sana. One should not spend one's time pondering over earning money. That is a misuse of the thinking power. The mind should be used to understand the prime necessity of human beings, and that should be presented authoritatively. The power of thought should be developed in association with persons who are authorities in the scriptures, saintly persons and spiritual masters. Sukham, pleasure or happiness, should always be in that which is favorable for the cultivation of spiritual knowledge of Krishna consciousness. And similarly, that which is painful or which causes distress is that which is unfavorable for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Anything favorable for the development of Krishna consciousness should be accepted, and anything unfavorable should be rejected.
Okay, thank you.
My friends, it's not near me, so I can't switch it off. It'll stop in a minute.
Okay,
Bhava, earth, should be understood to refer to the body.
could you just pause there for now?
Yeah, okay.
We received it. Now, this paragraph here, I mean, this could be made into a seminar in of itself. You could discuss each of these, how to implement or what these are in relationship to a devotee's life. So anyway, is there any questions or comments here? First, about control of the senses means that the senses should not be used for unnecessary personal enjoyment. There is no prohibition against meeting the proper needs of the senses, but unnecessary sense enjoyment is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Yeah. So that's going to be have to judged according to each individual. Of course, we have our regulative principles of course, so that is clear. But then Prabhupada said sense gratification should be like salt. Not too much and not too little. You know? Sometimes in the beginning, one may take on artificial austerity. Yeah? And then what comes from that? What may come from artificial austerities?
Physical pain.
Physical pains, especially if it's standing your head in the Himalayas or standing on one leg, like Hiranyakashipu. But one's heart may become hard. You know, sometimes I've seen it in the temple in the ashram where a brahmachari decides that they're not going to eat sweets. Well, it's fine, it's great to do that. But then one time, one devotee, he was not eating sweets, he was eating very simply. But then he began to heavily criticize everyone else who was eating. Yeah. Like there was one devotee who was complete bliss. He had a whole big plate of halava, he had everything, and he was just, going for this plate of prasadam. And this devotee who was on this self-imposed fast was just basically envious. He was envious because he had put himself on this restrictive diet, but still his senses were kind of demanding, and he And he wasn't able, and anyone translate that he wasn't ready for that level of renunciation. So he became envious of others. So there's no prohibition against meeting the proper needs of the sense, but unnecessary sense enjoyment is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Okay. And so that is called sama. So what else here?
Sometimes I find that it comes like a needle and goes out like an elephant, like you're on some social media or YouTube or some, you start off watching something spiritual and it's something, and then by the time you realize.
Yeah, you've gone off, and you could just put it down as sense gratification. What you're watching has nothing to do with Krishna whatsoever.
But it started off with a good intention.
Start off with good intention, yeah. So this is an extra thing that we have to deal with today, which probably wasn't there in the beginning of the Krishna consciousness movement. It's called online, and everything that is there online, YouTube, and the distractions. You can be distracted at one click. You can be distracted from Krishna consciousness. So we have to be very careful how we're interacting. I mean, some of you might remember as well. I remember the days when there was no computers. No one in the ashram had a computer. No one had a phone. There was only one phone in the hallway. And no one had their personal computers. Then gradually, now everyone's got a phone, everyone's got a computer. So we should be careful. So yeah, thank you, Mother, for doing me. Radhika, you mentioned that, yeah, we should be, it could turn into sense gratification. Yeah, what to say? We should be careful. Yeah. Any other comments on that? What about this one? Say if you're married and you got children, how are you going to do this one? One should not spend one's time pondering over earning money. You got to pay the rent, no? You got to figure things out. Any comments on that?
That's a tricky one because lack of money sometimes could be an impediment to your spiritual life as well, because it could be an anxiety. So finding that thin balance is a tricky one.
Yeah, so I think it's exactly that. It's as you said, we have to find a balance, but we should not be, I think the point here is we should not be like materialists. They are constantly, most constantly thinking of money, how to make more money. And that's the only thing that may be going through their mind. Well, there may be other things as well, which we won't mention. But yeah, the ones, thinking, pondering again and again and again, making money. But we need to be thinking about Krishna. Yeah. So we may have to, so the balance. So especially if we have a situation, we have a place we have to pay for, we have work, we have bills, then obviously we're going to have to we're going to have to work that out. Who's that associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who was very bad at managing his family affairs and his accounts? So Lord Chaitanya had someone else look after his account.
Shivas, and there were 4 brothers, and then he would go begging, and he says, if I don't get anything, then we won't eat for a few days, or I'll give up my life jumping in the ocean. And then Mahaprabhu tells his brother that you earn money and you look after him.
Yeah. So Lord Chaitanya gave that instruction. I think he said that if I clap 3 times and my needs are not met, I will jump in the Ganges.
Yeah.
So we should have faith that Krishna is going to take care of us, especially if we're engaged in his loving devotional service and we are devotees of Krishna. Krishna is taking care of all species of life, all the millions of elephants or insects. Prabhupada mentioned this, they're all being taken care of. So ultimately, yes, we have to use our common sense again, our intelligence in making our way in this world, but we should not be like a gross materialist. We engage in devotional service, and just that Krishna's going to, perhaps he's going to provide what we need, not what we want. We may want things which may be detrimental to our spiritual life. So Krishna's going to provide what we need. Yeah, and I think devotees also can, perhaps you probably have your personal testimonies as somehow or another, somehow we get by.
Yeah, I think that devotees can live simply. Even youngsters who get married now and have children, but they tend to want more and more. So if you want more and more, holidays, this, that, everything, then you need that money. So that means it's a circle. So that means you have to work harder, longer hours, or higher position jobs, which then if you're a manager, managing people, you get more money, but the tension is there more.
Yeah. So that's why that's why it's good to read Prabhupada's books, because some say devotee is going too much on that side. They're becoming obsessed with money, etc. Then they take part in a Bhagavad Gita reading, or they read Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada says here, one should not spend one's time pondering over earning money. That is a misuse of thinking power. So that will make, okay, let me have to make some adjustments here. Is that clear? Is that clear? I think we should not be like materialists. We have to make our way in this world, but we shouldn't over one's time pondering over earning money. Of course, if one is a Vaishya, then they're obsessed with. If one is a Vaishya, then that's their natural proclivity, is how to make money, but they're making it for Krishna. It's a whole subject as well. Okay, so anything else you want to bring out here from this paragraph?
I just look at it this way, like say a young couple and they buy a house and a bigger house and then they earn more for their children and this, that. And then when they leave, everything is going to go to that child. And then the child brings up more and more. And when they leave, it's like a circle, isn't it? And you look at it and you think, you spend so many years just working to give so much to this soul that is your son, child, boy, girl, whatever it is. And then what do you get out of it? I mean, when you leave, what have you taken with you? You haven't got time for Krishna conscious, but you've been busy, so much busy earning money,
Yeah, that's, as far as I understand, that's more of a Indian thing, actually.
Yeah.
The parents work their life, just to buy a house for their children or etc. As far as, but in the West, generally parents don't do that. It's like, good luck, kids. Good luck. So your world now, you just get on with it and don't come and ask me for any money. So that's generally the Western, but so the more the family, like you could say in Indian culture, it's more kind of more family orientated, more strongly like that. But yeah, so you give an example. So so one may waste one's whole lifetime. Yeah. I know one man, I won't mention the name, but I was speaking to his son, and he worked very, very hard. So many hours he worked, and he was working in banking, and he achieved what he wanted. He achieved the money to buy the house for himself, to buy a house for his son, etc., etc. But he hardly saw his son for years. And now the father and son have a very bad relationship because the father was hardly at home as a family man. So he sacrificed the family relationship. They're trying to make something of it now, but so many years have gone by where the son felt like he didn't have a father because his father was obsessed with banking and making money. So they got the big house, but they can hardly sit around the table together because they're so distant. Anyway, graphic example, I guess. Yeah, so we need to spend time developing Krishna consciousness. This is the thing we need to spend time for. Just get the money somehow, get the job, get the money, get enough for job to pay the bills, and then for the rest of the time, Krishna consciousness. Yeah, hearing and chanting about Krishna, engaging in going to retreats, engaging in Krishna consciousness, going to the temple, chanting the holy name. That's what we should be thinking of and meditating upon more, rather than how can I make money, this, that, etc. Anyway, let's go on perhaps, shall we? Unless anyone has any questions about here. Sukham. The power of thought should be developed in scripture. Saintly, but Sukham, pleasure or happiness should always be that which is favorable to cultivation of spiritual knowledge. All right, I guess we better move on. Otherwise, we're going to not finish this one verse today. Okay, someone would like to read the next paragraph.
I can read Bhav, right?
Yes, Bhava.
Bhav, birth, should be understood to refer to the body. As far as the soul is concerned, there is neither birth nor death. That we have discussed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Birth and death applies to one's embodiment in the material world. Fear is due to worrying about the future. A person in Krishna consciousness has no fear because by his activities, he goes back to the spiritual sky, back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, his future is very bright. Others, however, do not know what their future holds. They have no knowledge of what the next life holds. So they are, therefore, in constant anxiety. If we want to get free from anxiety, then the best course is to understand Krishna and be situated always in Krishna consciousness. In that way, we will be free from all fear. In the Shiksham 11-37, it is stated, Payam Dviti Abhini Vishestasat. Fear is caused by our absorption in the illusory energy. But those who are free from illusory energy, those who are confident that they are not the material body, that they are spiritual parts of the Supreme Person of Godhead, and who are therefore engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Godhead, have nothing to fear. Their future is very bright. This fear is a condition of persons who are not in Krishna consciousness. Abhayam, fearlessness, is possible only for one in Krishna consciousness.
Okay. Any comments here or questions?
One of the things in this Sharnagati bhajan is fear. Like Dainya, what's the word for that?
Danya?
Dainya is humility. What's for fear?
Well, it's mentioned here.
Bhaya.
Bhaya.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the things that we have to, that Krishna will always protect us in all situations. One of the things.
I remember listening to Bhuta Bhavana Prabhu's class. In one of that, he said, by reading Prabhupada's book, we automatically become fearless because Prabhupada is an embodiment, Abhaya Charana, and he was embodiment of fearlessness. So when you're reading his book, you're associating with him, and thereby one becomes fearless. I remember him telling very clearly in the class.
Yeah. This is basically everyone in the material world is fearful, because anything could happen at any moment, isn't it? So people are generally anxious about the future. You could definitely today, isn't it?
Mhm.
What is going to happen in this world? So people are very anxious about the future for themselves, for their children, etc. Yeah. But amazingly, I saw some. I watched in the beginning of the Ukraine and Russia war. I remember I was interested to see interviews with devotees there in Ukraine. Although although they're in a very fearful situation, they was kind of a bit blasé, kind of blasé in a negative way, but they were smiling in the midst of that otherwise catastrophe. And you could say there was, they wasn't foolish of the dangers that might come, but over and above everything, they said it's up to Krishna. Everything's in Krishna's hands. So they had this sense of fearlessness, even in fearful situations. That's, you could say, might be the test. We can be, we can feel fearless when everything's all right, when the internet's working and the bills are paid and you've got somewhere to live. You can be free of fear but what will happen if Russia starts bombing London or England and there's no water in London or whatever. Hopefully we should have faith in Krishna in that situation as well. Here it's a very big topic because sometimes
Wasn't COVID a good example of that?
yeah, you could say that. You could expand a bit more. Yeah, COVID. How did you see that in COVID?
Yeah, I mean, all the devotees took this as an opportunity to sort of even more dive down. There were more online classes than before.
Yeah.
Everybody was anxiety. Devotee was taking this as a blessing in disguise to delve into the scriptures and take association of, people never read, but during COVID they read,
Yeah. I'm sure a devotee community went through, I'm sure devotees went through fear then of, will I get COVID? Will I die? But ultimately, devotees reflect it's all in Krishna's hands. So I think in the beginning, probably of quite a few of us were kind of a little bit anxious of what's going to happen. But where to go with that anxiety? Then you go to Krishna and you put everything in Krishna's hands. Yeah. But so overall, devotees use that fearful situation to become more Krishna conscious, as well as as just mentioned. Yeah. Yeah.
I learned the word fear by going through a lot of difficulties. Then everybody, you pray to Krishna, pray to the fear. You got fear, right? What's going to happen if fear? And then, yes, Krishna will protect me. You say, Krishna will protect us. And then you think, yes, but what about my karma? My karma is there. They're going to get in a way as well. So I have to pay for my karma. And then as time goes on, you understand that whatever you're getting is Krishna's mercy, because he has looked after you. And at the end, when things are over, you realize that, why was I fearing? Everything's worked out how Krishna wants it, not how I want it, how Krishna wants it. So then if you are in difficulties, whatever Krishna, you have fear, yes, but you depend on Krishna, and whatever Krishna works out for you is the best in the long run. You will see that there's no need to be fearful. Krishna does the best for you.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me saying, I think those of you might not know, Mother Chandravati, she got COVID and she got taken to hospital on a respirator, and it looked like she might be going back to Godhead. That was very, like, she increased her faith in Krishna, completely dependent upon Krishna. Yes. Yeah, so to be free of fear. Just like animals are always fearful, isn't it? You see pigeons here and they're always looking left, looking right. Who's going to kill me? When is death going to come? So that is not meant for human beings. Human beings are supposed to have higher knowledge of God and their dependence upon God, so they can be free of fear. So anyway, Prabhupada said, Abhayam, fearlessness is possible only for one in Krishna consciousness. All right, let's have oh wow, this is a lengthy purple. All right, let's read the next paragraph. Let's perhaps read the next 2 paragraphs. If anyone else would like to read.
I can.
Go ahead.
Ahimsa, non-violence, means that one should not do anything which will put others into misery or confusion. Material activities that are promised by so many politicians, sociologists, philanthropists, etc., do not produce very good results because the politicians and philanthropists have no transcendental vision. They do not know what is actually beneficial for human society. Ahimsa means that people should be trained in such a way that the full utilization of the human body can be achieved. The human body is meant for spiritual realization. So any movement or any commissions which do not further that end commit violence on the human body. That which furthers the future spiritual happiness of the people in general is called non-violence.
Okay, so I can't but help be tempted to stop here and just comment on this. So generally we take non-violence to be not committing physical harm.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, Prabhupada's taking it much deeper here, and he mentions it in more than one place. So this is, so to not, I think he mentions elsewhere, to not tell someone about Krishna means you're being violent. To not share Krishna consciousness is an aspect that one is being violent. Yeah. Right. So right, anything else from there? Otherwise, you can read on.
Yeah.
Okay. Samatha.
Samatha, equanimity refers to freedom from attachment and aversion. To be very attached or to be very detached is not the best. This material world should be accepted without attachment or aversion. That which is favorable for prosecuting Krishna consciousness, one should be able to, could
Sorry,
you go one back? Yeah.
so I go back.
No, that's okay. That which is favorable for prosecuting Krishna consciousness should be accepted. That which is unfavorable should be rejected. This is called samatha, equanimity. A person in Krishna consciousness has nothing to reject and nothing to accept, save in terms of its usefulness in the prosecution of Krishna consciousness.
Okay, so any questions that come as we're reading, please feel free to ask as we're reading through this. But here, just to emphasize that if one, sorry,
samatha is a tricky one, because especially when you have with your close circle of people, there is already a thing of attachment. It just comes, just because you know them or you're familiar or whatever. Unknowingly, that attachment comes. And that is, I think, at least for me, a challenge, with that attachment, making a decision. Like a mother-son relationship or other relationships which are, there is already attachment in there.
yeah, Prabhupada says elsewhere when he speaks about in different, Krishna speaks about different items of knowledge. I think it's in chapter 13. One should be What you say? One should. So I can find it. One should be detached from family, etc. Yeah, Prabhupada says that. But then Prabhupada says it doesn't mean that one should have no affection for these. It is only natural.
But it's tricky. That's the tricky bit.
Yeah, it's tricky. But
Affection and yet to be detached.
yeah, like who's an example of someone whose attachment to his children caused the downfall of the whole dynasty?
Oh, Duryodhana's father.
Yeah, Dhritarashtra. Yeah. He was attached to his children, which caused the whole dynasty to be to be destroyed. But yeah, and no doubt it's not easy, and it's but it will come naturally. It's not something you can artificially try to impose upon yourself. Try impose like, okay, you have a natural attachment, say, and you try to artificially be detached. That's called aversion. Aversion means you're trying to be detached from something that you're attached to. So it's not natural. So the best thing to do is just keep in mind, as we're dealing with family members, etc. Yes, there's going to be a natural affection and thus a natural attachment, which may cloud our decisions in one way or another. But over and above everything, we understand at some point, I'm going to move on. I'm going to leave this body. And at some point, my children are going to leave the body, etc. You see, understand? So we're only together for 50, 35, 40, 55 years. But in the ultimate issue, we're all going to have to go our own ways. You know, at some point, our mother will, probably a lot of us, our mothers and fathers have died. Yeah. So if we have this understanding, then that is a level of detachment. Then we can slowly but surely we can develop to be, and as we become more Krishna conscious and more attached to Krishna and everything that goes with that, becoming developed in our relationship to Krishna, then a natural detachment will manifest. But the point I'm making is that, yeah, is that if we try and do it artificially, it may be difficult. So in that sense, detachment means to understand about the material world and how the children are with us for some time and then they will go their own way. I don't know if that answers your question exactly.
I think also that the more you start seeing your children as spirit souls and not physical bodies, and then you start seeing that they have their own missions and you have also your mission, and then eventually you start developing like appreciation. You start not only reading that it's not your baby, yeah, it's just the soul that who came through you, but you start seeing it, and it becomes your knowledge, not just theory. Then this detachment, that healthy detachment, comes naturally. You just see the world differently, because as long as we see our children or parents as mine, me, mine, that's very bodily way of seeing the world. And then we cannot practice detachment at all, because it's part of you as also as a physical body. But when with more of Krishna consciousness, when you start seeing it differently, then it comes, but you cannot force it. That's true. You cannot force it.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe give a very, perhaps me as a brahmachari who doesn't have children. I'm not the one to give much of, but yeah, thank you, Mother Olena. Did that help, Mother Sadami?
Yeah.
So that perspective, yeah. So the overall Krishna perspective, these children are not my children. They're actually Krishna's children, and I am their ward for a certain amount of time, and they have their own life. Yeah. All right, let's read a bit more. Hare Krishna. Pushti. Perhaps,
Should,
go ahead.
shall I carry on?
Yeah, carry on.
Tushti, satisfaction, means that one should not be eager to gather more and more material goods by unnecessary activity. One should be fully satisfied with whatever is obtained by the grace of the Supreme Lord. That is called satisfaction. Tapas means austerity or penance. There are many rules and regulations in the Vedas which apply here, like rising early in the morning and taking a bath. Sometimes it's very troublesome to rise early in the morning, but whatever voluntary trouble one may suffer in this way is called penance. Similarly, there are prescriptions for fasting on certain days of the month. One may not be inclined to practice such fasting, but because of his determination to make advancement in the science of Krishna consciousness, he should accept such bodily troubles when they are recommended. However, one should not fast unnecessarily or against Vedic injunctions. One should not fast for some political purpose that is described in Bhagavad Gita as fasting in ignorance. Or anything done in ignorance or passion does not lead to spiritual advancement. Everything done in the mode of goodness does advance one. However, fasting done in the terms of Vedic injunctions enriches one in spiritual knowledge.
Okay. Any questions or comments here? Just looking at the time, we've got 2 minutes left, and the next paragraph speaks about 50%
Charity.
earnings. That could be a topic. All right. All right. Tushti. All right. So what should we do? Let's
Shall we finish reading first?
yeah, why don't we just let me just read through this. Let's finish this paragraph. At this point, we might go a couple of minutes over. And if there's some points perhaps that come up from this reading this, we can discuss next week, especially just 50%. All right. So as far as charity is concerned, one should give 50% of his earnings to some good cause. And what is a good cause? It is that which is conducted in terms of Krishna consciousness. That is not only a good cause, but the best cause. Because Krishna is good, his cause is also good. Thus, charity should be given to a person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. According to the Vedic literature, it is enjoined that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. This practice is still followed, although not very nicely in terms of the Vedic injunction. But still the injunction is clear, that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. Why? Because they are engaged in higher cultivation of spiritual knowledge. A Brahmana is supposed to devote his whole life to understanding Brahman. Brahma janatiti brahmanaha. One who knows Brahman is called Brahmana. Thus charity is offered to the Brahmanas, because they are always engaged in higher spiritual service and have no time to earn their livelihood. In the Vedic literature, charity is also to be awarded to one in the renounced order of life, the sannyasi. These sannyasis beg from door to door, not for money, but for missionary purposes. The system is that they go from door to door to awaken their householders from the slumber of ignorance. Because their householders are engaged in family affairs and have forgotten their actual purpose in life, awakening their Krishna consciousness, it is the business of the sannyasis to go as beggars to the householders and encourage them to be Krishna conscious. As it is said in the Vedas, one should awake and achieve what is due to him in this human form of life. This knowledge and method is distributed by the sannyasis. Hence, charity is to be given to the renounced order, the Brahmanas, and similar good causes, not to any whimsical cause. Yashash, fame, should be according to Lord Chaitanya, who said that a man is famous when he is known as a great devotee. That is real fame. If one has become a great man in Krishna consciousness and it is known, then he is truly famous. One who does not have such fame is infamous. All these qualities are manifest throughout the universe in human society and in the society of demigods. There are many forms of humanity on other planets, and these qualities are there. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, this important point here, like a summary point. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, Krishna creates all these qualities, but the person develops them himself from within. One who is engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities as arranged by the Supreme Lord. That's what we mentioned in the beginning, isn't it? Or whatever we find, good or bad, the origin is Krishna. Nothing can manifest itself in this material world which is not in Krishna. That is knowledge. Although we know that things are differently situated, we should realize that everything flows from Krishna. Okay, everything flows from Krishna. All right, let's pause there then. And try to keep this in mind in what we just read there. If you have any questions or discussion points where we pick up next Tuesday, then perhaps we can look at that. Yeah. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
thank you everyone for joining us for this hour of Bhagavad Gita reading. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Murli Murli Manohar Prabhu ki jai.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bye-bye. Hare Bol.
Jai.